Imagine walking into your grocery store. You have your shopping list ready. You know exactly what you need. But when you reach the aisle, something is different. The price is higher. The shelf is half empty. And the product you plan to buy isn't there. You check another store. Same problem. Then another. Still nothing. This is exactly why timing can matter when you're building a practical emergency food supply. You don't need to panic. You don't need to clear an entire shelf. And you certainly don't need to spend your entire paycheck in one shopping trip. But if there are foods your household already uses, foods that store well, and foods that can help you prepare simple meals during a disruption, buying them before you actually need them can make a lot of sense. And today, we're looking specifically at 12 survival foods you may want to consider getting before August 15, 2026. Some are everyday pantry staples. Some can last for a long time when stored properly. And a few can help you build complete meals from relatively simple ingredients. But there's something important to understand before we begin. The date itself doesn't mean these foods are guaranteed to disappear after August 15th. Grocery prices, availability, and supply conditions can vary by location. This list is about preparedness and smart planning, not predicting a guaranteed shortage. The smartest approach is simple. Check what you already have. Buy what your household actually eats. Compare prices. Rotate older supplies first. And build your stock gradually within your budget. Because preparedness isn't about panic buying. It's about reducing the chance that you're forced to shop at the worst possible moment. And if you've been waiting to build a practical food reserve, this is a good time to take inventory. Before we begin, subscribe to PrepperPulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical grocery tips, survival food ideas, food storage strategies, and preparedness information to help you stay informed and ready. Now let's count down the 12 survival foods you may want to get before August 15, 2026. Starting with number 12. Number 12. Canned peas. Starting our list at number 12 is a simple pantry food that many people overlook. Canned peas. They may not seem like a survival food at first, but when you're building an emergency pantry, simplicity matters. Canned peas are already cooked. They don't require refrigeration while unopened, and they can be added directly to meals when you're short on time, cooking fuel, or fresh produce. You can eat them as a side dish, add them to soups, mix them into rice, combine them with pasta, or use them in casseroles and other simple meals. That versatility is exactly what you want in an emergency pantry. You're not just storing food. You're storing ingredients that can work with the other foods you already have. Another advantage is convenience. Dried vegetables can require soaking or longer cooking times. Fresh vegetables eventually spoil, but an unopened can sit in an appropriate pantry for a long time while waiting for you to need it. That makes canned peas useful for both everyday meals and emergency planning. When shopping, compare brands and can sizes. Store-brand canned vegetables may offer excellent value. Check the can before purchasing. Avoid cans that are severely dented, swollen, leaking, or badly damaged. At home, store them in a cool, dry location and rotate them. Use the oldest cans first and replace them as you go. You don't need dozens of cans. A reasonable supply based on your household's normal consumption is much more practical. And if your family doesn't like peas, don't buy them simply because they're on a survival food list. The best emergency food is food your household will actually eat. Canned peas earn the number 12 spot because they're shelf-stable, ready to eat, easy to combine with other foods, and useful when fresh vegetables aren't available. And the next survival food is something that can turn a very simple pantry into a much more satisfying meal. Number 11. Canned corn. At number 11 is another simple pantry staple that can quietly become incredibly useful. Canned corn. Corn is one of those foods that can fit into almost any emergency meal. You can eat it as a side dish, mix it into rice, add it to soups, combine it with beans, use it in casseroles, or add it to homemade salads when fresh vegetables aren't available. The biggest advantage is convenience. Canned corn is already cooked. It doesn't need refrigeration while unopened, and it can be stored in a pantry until you need it. That makes it particularly useful when you're trying to build a food supply without relying entirely on fresh produce. It can also add color, sweetness, and texture to otherwise basic meals. Imagine having rice, beans, and a few seasonings, then adding canned corn. Suddenly, you have a much more interesting meal without needing a long list of ingredients. That's the kind of flexibility you want when building an emergency pantry. When buying canned corn, compare the unit price. Look at the can size and consider how much your household can realistically use. You may also find different varieties, including whole kernel and no salt added options. Choose according to your household's preferences and dietary needs. Inspect cans before buying and storing. Avoid severely swollen, leaking, or badly damaged cans. Store them in a cool, dry place and rotate your supply. Remember, a survival pantry doesn't have to be filled with expensive freeze-dried meals. Ordinary foods can be extremely useful when they're shelf-stable, versatile, and familiar. Canned corn earns the number 11 spot because it's affordable, convenient, easy to store, and can make simple emergency meals much more satisfying. And the next food is something that can provide a completely different kind of meal while taking up very little space in your pantry. Number 10. Canned tuna. At number 10 is a survival food that packs a lot of usefulness into a surprisingly small can. Canned tuna. Unlike many pantry foods that mainly provide carbohydrates, canned tuna can add protein to an emergency meal, and that's important. A pantry filled with only starches can keep you eating, but a more balanced supply gives you more options. Canned tuna requires no refrigeration while unopened, can be eaten straight from the can, or combined with other ingredients to create a more complete meal. You can mix it with pasta, add it to rice, make a simple sandwich, combine it with vegetables, or use it in a quick salad. That flexibility makes it especially useful when cooking options are limited. Another advantage is portion size. A small can provide a convenient serving without requiring you to open a large package of food. That can be useful when you're trying to manage your supplies carefully. When shopping, compare different varieties and check the label. Some canned tuna products contain added salt or other ingredients. You may also see different types of tuna and different packaging sizes. Choose based on your household's preferences and dietary needs. It's also worth paying attention to mercury guidance, especially for children, pregnant people, and anyone who eats tuna frequently. Follow current health guidance regarding the types and amounts of tuna that are appropriate. Store unopened cans in a cool, dry place and rotate them regularly. And inspect every can before use. Canned tuna earns the number 10 spot because it's shelf-stable, convenient, protein-rich, and can turn simple pantry ingredients into a much more substantial meal. And the next food is one that can help you create a filling breakfast, snack, or baking ingredient without requiring refrigeration. Number 9. Crackers. We're now at number 9. And this is one of those foods that doesn't look impressive until you actually need something quick to eat. Crackers. They're lightweight, easy to store, ready to eat, and incredibly versatile. During an emergency, you may not always have the time, fuel, or equipment needed to prepare a full meal. Crackers can provide a simple source of carbohydrates while requiring absolutely no cooking. You can eat them on their own. Pair them with canned tuna. Add peanut butter. Serve them with canned meat or cheese. Or use them as part of a simple snack plate. This makes crackers particularly useful in situations where you need food that can be eaten immediately. They're also easy to portion. Instead of opening a large container of food, you can take what you need and keep the rest sealed. When buying crackers for emergency storage, look for products with packaging that helps protect them from moisture and breakage. Store unopened packages in a cool, dry place. Once opened, reseal them properly to maintain freshness. And remember, not all crackers have the same shelf life. Check the best-by date and rotate your supply regularly. Don't buy 10 boxes of a variety your family doesn't enjoy simply because it is on sale. Choose types your household already eats. You can also keep different varieties for different purposes. Plain crackers may be useful with soups and canned foods. Whole grain options can provide more fiber. And simple snack crackers can make emergency meals feel more familiar. Crackers earn the number 9 spot because they require no cooking, are easy to store, and can pair with many other survival foods. And the next item is something that can provide a quick source of calories while taking up very little space. Number 8. Peanut butter. At number 8 is a pantry staple that can deliver a lot of usefulness in a relatively small jar. Peanut butter is calorie-dense, requires no cooking, and can be eaten in several different ways. That makes it a practical food to keep in an emergency pantry. You can spread it on crackers, use it in sandwiches, mix it into oatmeal, add it to smoothies when other ingredients are available, or simply eat a small amount directly from the spoon. Peanut butter also has another advantage. It can make basic foods much more satisfying. A few crackers on their own might not feel like much of a meal. Add peanut butter, and you've increased the calories and made the snack considerably more filling. That's exactly the kind of flexibility you want when building an emergency food supply. However, peanut butter isn't suitable for everyone. Peanut allergies can be severe. If anyone in your household has an allergy, choose an appropriate alternative instead. When shopping, compare conventional and natural peanut butter options. Some products contain added sugar, salt, or oils. Choose according to your household's preferences. Storage is simple. Keep unopened jars in a cool, dry location according to the manufacturer's instructions. After opening, follow the label's storage guidance. Check the best-by date and rotate your supply rather than allowing jars to sit forgotten at the back of the pantry. And don't buy more than you can realistically use. The best emergency supply is one that gets eaten and replaced, not one that sits untouched for years. Peanut butter earns the number 8 spot because it's convenient, calorie-dense, versatile, and requires no cooking. And now we're moving into the top 7. The next survival food is something that can help you build a warm, filling meal from a surprisingly small amount of pantry ingredients. Number 7. Canned soup. We're now at number 7. And this is one of the easiest survival foods to turn into a complete feeling meal. Canned soup. When you're dealing with an emergency, convenience matters. You may have limited cooking fuel. You may be tired. Or you may simply need something you can prepare quickly. Canned soup can solve that problem. Depending on the variety, it can contain vegetables, meat, beans, noodles, or other ingredients in one package. That means you don't necessarily need several separate ingredients to create a satisfying meal. Some varieties can be eaten after heating. Others may be suitable for eating straight from the can when necessary, provided the product is intended for that use. Always follow the label directions. You can also stretch certain soups by adding other pantry ingredients. Add extra vegetables, mix in beans, add cooked grains, or combine it with crackers or another shelf-stable side. This can make your supply last longer while giving you more variety. When shopping, compare sodium levels and serving sizes. Some canned soups contain a significant amount of sodium. If that's a concern for anyone in your household, look for lower sodium options where appropriate. Check cans for damage before purchasing. Store them in a cool, dry place and rotate them regularly. And don't forget the practical side. If you're storing canned soup, make sure you have a manual can opener available. A pantry full of cans isn't very helpful if you can't open them during a power outage. Canned soup earns the number 7 spot because it's convenient, versatile, shelf-stable, and capable of becoming a meal with very little preparation. And now we're entering the top 6. The next food is something that can provide a valuable source of protein while remaining incredibly easy to store. Number 6. Canned chicken. We're now in the top 6. At number 6 is another shelf-stable protein that can make a major difference in your emergency pantry. Canned chicken. When fresh meat isn't available, canned chicken can provide a convenient way to add protein to meals without needing a refrigerator or freezer while the can remains unopened. That's a major advantage during power outages. Can also save you cooking time. Depending on the product, canned chicken can be ready to eat after opening. You can add it to sandwiches, mix it into pasta, combine it with rice, add it to soup, make a simple chicken salad, or use it as a filling for wraps. That versatility is exactly what makes it useful. One can work with several different pantry staples. Imagine having crackers, canned chicken, and a few seasonings. You already have the foundation for a quick meal. Or combine chicken with canned vegetables and soup to create something more substantial. When shopping, compare the protein content, serving size, sodium level, and ingredients. Some products may contain broth or added salt. If sodium is a concern for your household, lower sodium options may be preferable. As always, inspect cans before storing them. Avoid cans that are severely swollen, leaking, or badly damaged. Store them in a cool, dry pantry and rotate them so older cans are used first. Canned chicken earns the number 6 spot because it's shelf-stable, convenient, protein-rich, and can be combined with many other foods. And now we're down to the final 5. The next food is something that can turn an ordinary pantry into a much more flexible emergency kitchen. Number 5. Canned tomatoes. We're now in the top 5. At number 5 is one of the most useful ingredients you can keep in a pantry. Canned tomatoes, whole tomatoes, diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste can all serve different purposes. But canned tomatoes deserve special attention because they can transform basic ingredients into completely different meals. Have pasta? Add tomatoes. Have beans? Turn them into a seasoned stew. Have rice? Make a simple tomato-based dish. Have canned meat? Combine it with tomatoes and seasonings. That's the power of a versatile pantry ingredient. Canned tomatoes also help bring moisture and flavor to foods that might otherwise feel dry or repetitive. During an emergency, that variety matters. You don't want every meal to taste exactly the same. A few cans of tomatoes can help you create different combinations from the same basic ingredients. When shopping, compare varieties based on how you actually cook. Diced tomatoes may be convenient for soups and stews. Crushed tomatoes can work well in sauces. Whole tomatoes give you more flexibility because you can break them down yourself. Check labels for added salt and choose according to your household's needs. Store unopened cans in a cool, dry location. Rotate them regularly and inspect the cans before opening. Canned tomatoes earn the number 5 spot because they're inexpensive, shelf-stable, versatile, and capable of turning simple pantry staples into more satisfying meals. And now we're down to the final 4. The next survival food is something that can provide a reliable source of protein and can be stored for a long time when kept properly. Number 4. Canned beans. We're down to the final 4. At number 4 is one of the most useful foods you can keep in an emergency pantry. Canned beans, black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, and other varieties can provide protein, carbohydrates, and fiber in one convenient package. And unlike dried beans, canned beans are already cooked. That matters during an emergency. If you have limited fuel or cooking equipment, you don't want every meal to require hours of preparation. With canned beans, you can simply open the can and add them to a meal. Use them with rice. Mix them into soups. Add them to canned vegetables. Make a simple bean salad. Or season them and eat them as a side dish. They're also excellent for stretching other foods. A small amount of meat can go much further when combined with beans. A simple soup can become more filling. And a basic rice dish can become a much more substantial meal. When shopping, compare different varieties and sodium levels. If you prefer lower sodium foods, look for reduced sodium options or rinse canned beans before eating when appropriate. Rinsing can remove some of the surface sodium. As always, inspect cans carefully. Avoid cans that are swollen, leaking, or severely damaged. Store them in a cool, dry location and rotate your supply. Canned beans earn the number 4 spot because they're affordable, shelf-stable, ready to use, nutritious, and incredibly versatile. And now we're down to the final 3. The next food is one of the simplest ways to add a filling carbohydrate to your emergency pantry. Number 3. Pasta. We're down to the final 3. At number 3 is one of the most affordable and versatile foods you can keep in your pantry. Pasta. It's lightweight, easy to store, and capable of becoming dozens of different meals. You can combine pasta with canned tomatoes, add canned chicken, mix in vegetables, create a simple pasta salad, or simply season it with whatever ingredients you have available. That's what makes pasta so valuable in an emergency food supply. It isn't a complete meal by itself, but it's an excellent foundation. A pantry containing pasta, canned tomatoes, canned beans, and a shelf-stable protein can give you multiple meal combinations without requiring a huge variety of products. Pasta is also relatively inexpensive compared with many other foods. That makes it easier to build a reserve without spending a fortune. When buying pasta, choose shapes your household already enjoys. Spaghetti, penne, radini, macaroni, or other varieties can all work. Different shapes can also make meals feel different even when you're using similar ingredients. Store dry pasta in a cool, dry place. Keep packages sealed to protect them from moisture and pantry pests. Once opened, transfer leftovers into an appropriate airtight container if needed. Check your supply periodically and rotate older packages first. One important consideration is cooking fuel. Dry pasta normally requires boiling water and heat. If you're preparing for a situation where cooking may be difficult, make sure your emergency plan includes an appropriate way to prepare food. Pasta earns the number 3 spot because it's affordable, versatile, easy to store, and can serve as the foundation for many different emergency meals. And now we're down to the final 2. The next survival food is something that can provide a lot of calories in a surprisingly small amount of space. Number 2. Rolled oats. We're down to the final 2. At number 2 is a simple food that can provide a filling breakfast while taking up very little pantry space. Rolled oats. Oats are one of those foods that don't look particularly exciting. But when you're building an emergency food supply, practical foods often matter more than exciting ones. Rolled oats can provide carbohydrates, fiber, and a filling base for breakfast. You can prepare them with water. Use shelf-stable milk. Add peanut butter. Mix in dried fruit. Or sweeten them with a small amount of honey or another pantry ingredient. That means one basic food can become several different meals. Oats are also relatively inexpensive and easy to store. A sealed container kept in a cool, dry location can protect them from moisture and pantry pests. For longer storage, appropriate airtight food-grade containers can provide additional protection. The important thing is keeping them dry. Moisture can quickly damage dry foods. When shopping, you may see several varieties. Old-fashioned rolled oats generally take longer to cook than instant oats, while quick oats require less preparation. Choose the type that matches your household and your emergency cooking setup. If you expect a situation where fuel may be limited, faster cooking oats may be more convenient. You can also portion oats into smaller containers or bags for easier meal preparation. Just make sure any storage method you use is appropriate for food. Rolled oats earn the number 2 spot because they're affordable, filling, versatile, and easy to store. And now we've reached number 1. The final food on this list is one of the most practical staples you can keep because it can provide a foundation for countless meals. Number 1. White rice. We've reached number 1. And if you're building a practical emergency food supply, this is one of the staples you should seriously consider. White rice. It's inexpensive, versatile, easy to combine with other foods, and when stored properly, it can remain usable for a long time. That's what makes white rice such a valuable pantry staple. On its own, rice isn't a complete meal, but combine it with canned beans, canned chicken, canned vegetables, or canned tomatoes, and suddenly you have the foundation for dozens of different meals. That's exactly what you want when you're preparing for an emergency. You don't need every possible food. You need ingredients that can work together. Rice can be served as a side dish, used as the base of a bowl, mixed into soups, combined with beans, or paired with canned meat and vegetables. And because it doesn't take up as much space as many ready-made meals, it's relatively efficient for pantry storage. However, storage matters. Keep dry rice in a cool, dry location protected from moisture and pests. For longer-term storage, food-grade airtight containers can provide additional protection. Avoid storing dry foods in damp areas such as an unprotected garage or basement if those conditions could expose them to moisture or pests. It's also important to rotate your supply. Don't buy a huge amount and forget about it. Use older rice first and replace it as you go. And remember one critical point: Rice requires cooking. That means your emergency plan should also account for fuel, equipment, and safe water. If the power is out and you can't use your normal stove, having rice won't help much unless you have a safe alternative way to prepare it. That's why a truly practical emergency food supply considers more than just the food itself. You need safe water, a way to prepare food, basic cooking equipment, and a plan for storing everything properly. White rice earns the #1 spot because it's affordable, versatile, easy to combine with other pantry foods, and useful for creating filling meals from simple ingredients. So there you have it, 12 survival foods you may want to consider getting before August 15th, 2026. Canned peas, canned corn, canned tuna, crackers, peanut butter, canned soup, canned chicken, canned tomatoes, canned beans, pasta, rolled oats, and white rice. But remember, the goal isn't to panic. The goal isn't to clear grocery shelves. And the goal definitely isn't to spend money you don't have. Instead, look at your household. Check what you already own. Identify the foods you actually eat. Then gradually build a reasonable reserve. Buy a little extra when prices are favorable. Store everything properly. Rotate older products. And make sure you have the equipment and safe water needed to prepare the foods you choose. Because a pantry full of ingredients is only useful if you know how to turn those ingredients into meals. And preparedness isn't about predicting exactly what will happen. It's about making sure a temporary disruption doesn't immediately become a crisis inside your own home. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Prepper Pulse and turn on notifications. We upload new videos daily with practical grocery tips, survival food ideas, food storage strategies, and preparedness information to help you stay informed and ready. Stay prepared, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next video.